Stardate 0311.2021. Welcome to Star Trek Discovery Pod, a kind of smart, kind of funny podcast about new Star Trek and beyond. I'm your reluctant captain, Mike Garcia. With me on the view screen, we have
Mariah Gossett.
And Clyde Haynes.
Tonight, it's a loose hang, one of our patented loose hangs. It's going to be an ultra loose hang. Typically, what we do, if you're new here, is we break down a new episode of Star Trek every week. But there is no new episode of Star Trek this week, or not until, well, we don't know. Maybe, hopefully, sometime this year. We'll talk about that soon. But we are streaming live on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. Our buddy Grant Davis can't be with us tonight, but he'll be back next time. And tonight we're going to talk about the recent onslaught of Star Trek news and some show previews, some show announcements, really anything else you guys want to talk about in the live stream chat. Clyde, tell people about the chat.
So if you are watching us live and you want to hang out with us and you want to participate in the chat, here's simple instructions. You're just going to type in capital P, capital O, capital D, capital pod in the chat, and that'll let us know to take a look at what you're typing to us. You don't have to type in capital P, capital O, capital D, capital pod. If you're just hanging out and talking to Home, Chicky, and Marge, feel free to chat away.
Do it. Yeah, there's other ways you can support this little show that we have as well. One is you can join us over on our Patreon. If you join at just $2 per episode, which is a great deal right now because we're maybe releasing like one episode a month until we get some more Trek coming down the pipeline. You can chat with us about all of this Star Trek news. There's watch-alongs happening. I feel like almost every night of the week there's something going on in that Slack channel. It's really fun. I tuned in for an episode of Enterprise last week and had a great time chit-chatting with our Slack and Patreon folks. So join us. It's patreon.com/Star Trek Pod. Also, make sure you're subscribed to the podcast. So if you don't want to ever miss an episode, whether you're in the live chat or you listen to us later next day, which is also super helpful, make sure you're subscribed wherever you prefer to listen or watch your podcasts.
So wait, Mariah, did you have a great time hanging out in the Slack channel, or was it a great time watching Enterprise? Because one of those I believe and the other I struggle with.
I had a great time with both.
Okay.
It's too early to start upsetting the listeners and the viewers, Clyde. It's too early for that.
Okay.
We're like 3 minutes into the stream. We're already alienating the Enterprise heads. Sorry.
Don't do it.
I'm gonna drop you out. Okay. All right. Let's dig into this loose hang. Let's talk about our upcoming never-ending Trek news. First, actually, I wanted to just say hi to everybody. Hey, Santi Santo, Chupi. Who else is here? Marge. And we got Home Chicky, Takako. Some more people coming in. Kang, what's up, Kang? Good to see you guys. Super glad you're here. Yeah, drop your comments in the chat. This is going to be a loose hang. We're just going to go through the news. Mariah, you are a news hound. Which one of these stories that you dropped in our doc here do you want to talk about first?
Oh, well, I think we'll cover we can go maybe big to not small, but bigger news to like more granular news, right? So the big one obviously has been that CBS All Access is now Paramount Plus. It means all of those fun promos have to change. As someone who makes content for a living, I feel a little bad for editors out there in the world, but it's been a changeover. Have y'all explored the app since it changed over?
Yeah, it's kind of the same, but there is more content, not more Trek content, unfortunately. There's only 4 Trek movies on there.
Mm-hmm.
I checked because of like just weird licensing stuff. And there's not a lot of Paramount movies. I don't know how these streaming services work. There's like random stuff on them. But it's kind of the same interface for me because I use my PlayStation through Amazon to watch CBS All Access / Paramount Plus. I used to just use the app on the phone and like Chromecast it, but the app is such a mess that I just bought a subscription through Amazon and it's much easier. But I am enjoying since there's no new Trek on. It is easy to find a Trek show that I want to watch on there, and Paramount Plus does have a YouTube channel. And on the day that Paramount Plus rebranded, they had a 24/7 Star Trek stream on the YouTube channel. So that was fun, just having like random Trek episodes playing in the background all day. So that was cool.
Yeah.
But really no huge change for Trek fans.
Yeah, it's all there. I have found it to be a little less glitchy, so maybe it's been because I watch it via the Roku, and so it's been working well over there. But yeah, it's nice having just like the whole Trek family right in a row when you want to go and try to find something to watch.
I have not checked it out. I am looking through it now, and it seems like there's some interesting things. I could see myself watching Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark after we wrap. That might happen, or maybe I'll check out Godfather Part 2. I don't know.
Clyde, if you like artsy procedurals, I think you'll dig Clarice. Clarice is on there, the new Silence of the Lambs type show. It's pretty good.
Do I look like a guy who enjoys artsy procedurals?
Mariah, if you like artsy procedurals,
Jen, a writer I really like, is a consultant and now an
Right.
actor on that show. Jen Richards, I believe. But yeah, she's
yeah,
great.
that's right. Yeah.
No, seriously though. I mean, I pretty much watch just about anything, at least to get a flavor of it. But I saw Clarice and immediately said, "That's Silence of the Lambs." Probably out of that.
Mm-mm.
Not really my thing, but
Yeah.
Nicole Jackson says, I honestly only use it to watch Star Trek and Twilight Zone.
Twilight
That's
Zone
pretty
is
much
great.
where I was at.
Mm-hmm.
Like, haven't checked out the new Twilight Zone. It's kind of hit and miss, but the hits are really good. There's some good episodes.
I was into Scorpion for a while. I dig the Unicorn. So there are a couple things, and I mean, who from our generation isn't a little mildly curious about the real world Homecoming in New York?
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah,
been on my
dude.
list for a minute.
I mean,
What
Come
has
on.
Julie been up to, bro?
I don't really care, but I kind of care. So it's one of those things that I'm at least gonna check it out there for a moment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Twitter commentary alone seems like
Mhm.
it's worth the watch. But speaking of Twitter commentary, we also got a really great preview, and Twitter, I feel like, went off about the preview image we finally got of Star Trek Prodigy, which is our first full alien crew, which I'm really excited about. Also, I'm not sure what the little purple and teal character is, but I already love them and I want to protect them with every fiber of my being. I believe the LGBTQIA plus community, Trek community, has already decided that that is our new non-binary figurehead, and we are ready for them.
You mean the
Fascinating.
little blob?
Yeah, it's so cute. I don't know how animators are incredible in that they literally make me love a little teal and purple blob. I'm like obsessed.
There we go. Clyde, have you seen these guys yet?
I have. I mean, I was kind of reading up on this because I'm curious. So there's a lot of things about this that I'm interested. But the fact that it's it's a full alien crew
Mhm.
is fascinating, and I think for anime that's perfect. At some point, I think we should try that with live action. But I'm fascinated by this, and I mean, you've got a couple people that look pretty close to human, but I'll let it go. I also
Humanoid,
like.
you know.
I mean, I'm interested. The fact that it's on Nickelodeon, it's about a bunch of rambunctious teenagers, has me not quite sure. But then you toss in Kate Mulgrew, and I'm like, I'm in for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kate
reprising-
Mulgrew is still attached to this show. She's going to star as Captain Janeway. I can't wait to see what she's going to look like in this kind of computer animated style, because it just looks so fun. It looks so different. I love that they're taking Star Trek. You know, Kurtzman, everybody involved in New Trek is just taking the franchise in really new directions while still doing their best to honor what Star Trek really is, right? Like with this, it's like we're going to give you something you've never seen before, not just an all human crew, but species you've never seen before, something that looks kind of like Star Trek meets Pixar,
Mhm.
and some really weird looking characters. And like you kind of alluded to, Mariah, there was kind of a from Twitter. Some of the old heads on Twitter were like, "What the fuck is this? This isn't Star Trek, right?" But I love it. I think this is where we should be going, especially for kids.
Mhm.
Like this doesn't look like. I don't watch a lot of like, I'll watch some of the like preteen, teen kid shows, like the new She-Ra.
Mhm.
It's cool. I watch stuff like that, but I don't watch stuff for like little kids. It seems like it's for like younger kids. I don't remember what the age bracket is, but I think they're gonna love this. I mean, this looks cool. It's gonna have the spirit of Trek. It's gonna have Kate Mulgrew as Captain Janeway. I'm not sure if she's gonna be a recurring character or a guest character. Hopefully, she's on every episode. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. I think they're tackling this in an interesting way. And it is actually going to be broadcast first on Paramount Plus, and then will later run on Nickelodeon. And I think it's interesting, and we can put a link maybe in the show notes to this kind of rundown of where Kurtzman sort of sees the future of Trek and Trek content. And he sort of lays out this plan of like, we're never going to premiere more than one new property essentially per year, it seems like. So once per year, we'll get something new. This year, the new thing is going to be Prodigy. I think next year is going to be Strange New Worlds. And they're really interested in being able to make a Trek for everyone. So now we have Prodigy for younger kids. He even talked about potentially there being a Trek that's on BET and a Trek that's on Showtime, and how you can like kind of have these different splices of Trek that meet different audiences where they are. And you don't necessarily have to watch Trek, all of it, to know what's going on everything else. So I think it's interesting. It's an interesting approach.
I'm not sure how I feel about BET Trek.
Yeah.
Just
I mean, did you watch any of the First Wives Club that they did on BET?
I don't think so.
It was Michelle Buteau headed it up, and I thought it was.
I feel like
really
I may
good.
have seen the pilot. I just
As long as there's not a CMT Trek, I don't know what that looks like. I don't want to know what that looks
That's
like.
still a channel.
yes.
I don't know. Maybe after Trump lost the election, that channel just went away. I don't know.
But yeah, I'm interested, and who knows, because it's like things change. Like this was supposed to be on Nickelodeon, but now it's like Paramount Plus and then Nickelodeon. But I was also interested in this idea of like the Showtime Trek, like even more edgy and adult, and like what does that look like? Clyde.
None of us want to go there.
I'm not going there.
I'll write it. Fine.
Look at this, Topo Chico. I'll just
You thought we'd stop at Klingon boobies? Here we go.
I mean, honestly, though, if you took so here's the thing.
Here we go.
The Showtime Trek is the Klingon meets Sopranos familial drama show.
Right. No, I like it.
Is it, or is it space Game of Thrones?
Well, that's
I
kind of
mean-
what they pitched Discovery as a little bit. But I would love to see a Klingon show. Like I look back on the first season of Discovery and that time we spent on the Klingon ship. So cool and had so much potential and fun. And I love that they were speaking Klingon. I wanted more of that. And I think if we got to explore that somehow, that would be cool. Obviously, that would be a very like niche series. I'm not sure if we would get that. Maybe it'd be like a web only series. I don't know. But before we head too far into the potential new stuff coming out, I want to go back to Prodigy because we had some good comments in the chat about this show. Let me see if I can find them. And Clyde, just your overall thoughts on this. You're gonna get your kids to watch this. I know you're, from the three of us here, you're the only one with kids.
As much as I would love it, I think there's zero chance that my daughter's gonna watch this.
Oh no.
She's just not really into space stuff. She's just not. Like I've tried a few times. I know I'm a failure as a father, but I'm working on it.
You'll get there.
But I it'll be interesting. I think it really depends on the characters and some of the storylines. And so if this is a Trek kind of feel to it, and it's really written for a kind of a younger generation, She may not be ready for it yet, but I think at some point this might be interesting. I'll be interested in it. So
Yeah, I'm definitely going to watch it. Marge says about these new characters that we're seeing on screen, and they're all non-human, and we don't have any names for them yet. But Marge says they're not in uniform. So do you think they enter the academy? I think we're not going to. I don't know. It might culminate in these characters entering the academy, but everything that CBS, Paramount, whoever has released about this show, basically the log line is these are just random space kids who kind of steal a starship and go on an adventure, right? They're not really cadets.
Yeah, they find an abandoned ship and kind of take it for their own little adventures through space. And so, this is definitely going to be an adventure of the week kind of show, I'm imagining.
Yeah. Cole Jackson says, "LOL, Clyde is my spirit animal." Okay. He always says what I'm thinking. I've got to go because I adore Kate Mulgrew, but it's for kids, so I don't know if it'll hold my too much. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's going to get us all to tune in just to see what Kate Mulgrew does on the show, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely tuning in, but okay, I'm going to say this and people are going to freak out, but I've keep trying to watch the Clone Wars, and it's one of those. I know I keep hearing, keep watching. It's going to get better. Like the last season is, there are certain episodes you have to see, but that is something that doesn't quite feel like it's written for me. And even though I'm interested and kind of sort of want to see what happens, it just can't hold my attention that long. That's what I'm worried about with this, is that I'll want to because I love the universe, but the storylines that are typically written for kids drive me insane. Right? Like, I find myself shouting, "Why are you doing that? That is a stupid thing to do," because it's for kids.
Yeah, it depends.
Yeah,
I mean,
so that's what I
for kids. I know it's not for me. It's not for us. It's for kids, but we're fans of the franchise, and there's probably a percentage of every episode that we can really get excited about. So yeah, I think it'll be cool to watch.
I'll be interested too. I know the two creators of this show also just signed an overall deal with Paramount CBS conglomerate, and I think they have some cool visions of like kids programming and beyond. But I'll be interested to see what the writer's room looks like for this, if that ever gets released, because I really like Adventure Time, which I know is fairly made for kids, but has a lot of tongue-in-cheek sort of wink stuff for, I think, the parents who have to watch it, in the same way that Pixar movies are, made on a kid level, but have things that very obviously go over their heads so that parents don't go bananas having to have this in their homes all the time. So
Santi Santo has a question. Do you think this is taking place in the Delta Quadrant? The second guy looks like a Talaxian, and I think he's talking about the purple guy. He does look a little Talaxian. Do any of these look like races we've seen before or species we've seen before in Trek besides the Talaxian looking guy?
I can't really say off the bat, also because they're the animated versions of them, so it's harder, and there isn't a good zoom in of face details or anything quite yet, but I feel like I read somewhere that it is taking place in the Delta Quadrant.
Oh, okay.
I'd have to find it to confirm, but I vaguely remember that's kind of how Janeway comes into all of this, is because it's in the Delta Quadrant. She's
like, damn it, I'm back in this fucking Delta Quadrant with these weird kids. Where's Chakotay when you need him?
And Santi Santo says it's the orange guy. I think.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. On. The short dude,
the rounder looking fella.
Yeah. I was gonna say the purple guy looks a little too athletic to be a Talaxi.
I was gonna say he doesn't have enough fur.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah.
Not athletic enough, Clyde. That's what I say. Marge says, "I want Trek for old people."
That
we have that. It's on Netflix. It's on CBS All Access.
No, we do have it. It's called Picard. Just kidding.
Well, that's
Not
how they
really.
in the video that they gave that they did all this like launch for Paramount Plus and the sort of like full Trek trailer that they put together. They call Picard their first sort of more like true Trek drama, like serious drama is how
Serious
they're
adult drama. Yeah.
serious adult drama is how they're labeling Picard. Which speaking of Picard, if we're ready to move on from Prodigy.
Let's move on.
Sure.
Had some filming delays, I think, due to like COVID restrictions in Toronto. So I believe they're back to filming currently. I saw quite a few of the Trek family getting their vaccines, which is very exciting, which hopefully means everyone's getting, including Sir Patrick Stewart, has all vaccinated up. So our captain is protected. And I think from the understanding that from what I've read is there's no way we're getting Section 31 until they wrap up Picard.
That's disappointing.
And the idea is that we've sort of heard all of the new stuff we're going to get over the next at least 2 to 3 years has been announced TV wise. And then anything new would come after that has finished.
So why exit Michelle Yeoh so early then?
I think
she's got other
filming
stuff
a
to
bunch
do.
of stuff. Yeah, she's
Yeah.
like on a Marvel movie. She's like high
She's
demand.
She's in the Eternals, right?
Yeah, she's in the Eternals, and
The
then
Eternals.
I saw recently she's been filming in a very deserty looking place. I'm not sure where in the world. I can't quite remember, but very exotic locations wherever she is.
She's moving to Star Wars, Clyde. She's making the jump.
No.
She would be someone though, if there was any actor in history that could be in like every major tentpole franchise, she could do it. I recently went down like a total Michelle Yeoh like movie deep dive, and God, she's so good. And even from the beginning, like all of her like stuff when she's just entering like the Hong Kong like filming scene and stuff is just so impressive. Her movements have always been like so incredible. So she's awesome.
Give me a recommendation beyond Crouching Tiger.
Oh, I'll write you a list. We went.
I want that list.
We went all. It's like lots of stuff on Amazon Prime. There's lots of her older flicks are over there, but there's one where she's essentially like Indiana Jones before Indiana Jones. Like she has a whip. She rides a horse. She's like like cart chases. Like it's wild and amazing.
I'm sorry. Did you say words after she has a whip? I didn't hear anything after that. I'm sorry.
It's a horny pod. All right.
No. Oh, no. We moved past the Showtime show, Mike.
Hey, we're not talking about that.
I didn't bring it up. Whoops. Santi Santo had a cool theory about Prodigy. This text is so small. Can you guys read this?
Yes.
Somebody read it.
All right. This is my theory. They are scavengers in the Delta Quadrant. They find the starship brought by the caretaker, and they need a tutor or mentor. So Starfleet sends a hologram of Janeway.
Okay. I like everything except for the hologram. I want it to be Janeway. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that would be I mean, I don't mind if she appears as a hologram, but it should be that she's like somewhere else and it's just like popping on the ship to give them life advice as like, a hologram message,
Oh, not like, yeah. As long as it's not like a new entity, like a hologram based on Janeway.
Right. Yeah. It needs to be actually Janeway. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Not like a programmed hologram Janeway for me. Right. Anyway.
Yeah.
What else? Oh, I recently watched one of the things that I found on Paramount Plus was this documentary that the Smithsonian put together on like Star Trek. It was a promo piece, I think, right when Star Trek Beyond was coming out, and it features a lot of the actors from Star Trek Beyond, and they do some like history. It's very much those like the like toys that made us sort of vibe, and I think it was used at the Museum of Pop Culture in Seattle, which is an interesting place. But anyway, so it was a little documentary. It's like stuff that you kind of already know if you've been into Trek for a while, but it's still sort of like something fun to have on in the background while you're doing other things. But speaking of documentaries, apparently a new 8-hour Trek series has just been announced for the History Channel for the 55th anniversary of Star Trek. So we'll see how that comes out. No launch date as of yet of when that's supposed to come out, but
8 hours of what exactly?
Well, it's going to be, like Mariah said, it's coincide to celebrate the 55th anniversary of Trek. And it's going to focus on, according to Deadline, a behind-the-scenes look at pivotal moments in the franchise history. Everything from Lucille Ball's production company starting the original Star Trek to all the adaptations and even the lesser-known adaptations that really didn't make it, like Star Trek Phase 2, which turned into Star Trek the Motion Picture, I think, and was an idea that Gene Roddenberry had to bring Star Trek back before The Next Generation came out. So that'll be cool. And then there's going to be an episode, I think, devoted to the original animated series. And apparently this is being billed as one of the most in-depth documentaries about Star Trek from behind the scenes to the front. Like, they're trying to get the entire cast of all the shows back, crew and experts in the realm of Star Trek were available to be in the documentary.
Happy to participate.
Yeah, we'd be happy to participate. Our fee is very low.
Very, very low.
It's actually very high. But I think History Channel can pay it. Yeah, like Mariah said, I'm excited about this because the company putting this together is a company that produced The Toys That Made Us on Netflix. I really enjoy that. That's like a really fun, poppy, kind of easy to follow documentary series. And the company that's producing this is called Nacelle Productions, which I think is great. Yeah. It just makes sense. Yeah.
Am I a bad Star Trek podcast co-host if I think 8 hours is a lot?
It's a series.
Yeah.
It's not. You're not going to sit down for 8 hours and watch.
But I'm just saying. I think 8 hours of Trek history.
There had better be some interesting, more things than I already know for me to sit down for 8 hours. I will agree with you there, Clyde, in that I often watch a lot of documentary series that come out now, and I think they're very long and they repeat a lot of the same information over and over again. So I'm hoping that each episode is at least like its own subject matter, right?
Well, and I think it depends on how it works. Like, I literally just watched it. It probably was about an 8-hour docu-series on samurai. So it's quite possible that this would captivate me. It just sounds like a lot.
Yeah. Santi says it's 8-part, not necessarily 8 hours, but I think it might be 8 hours, but we'll see. Home Chicky says, I wonder who will narrate. Who do you want to narrate right now? Shatner?
No.
Michelle Barrett. Is there anyone else?
She's dead.
Well, I guess, yeah.
Computers can make that unhappen now.
Right.
Voice learning.
I
think
Marina Sirtis, man, her voice is stellar.
I'm really mad at her right now, so we're not going to talk about that.
I just saw her in I've been watching Titans, that show on that DC show. This is all right, but she's in it, and I was like, it's Deanna Troy, yay! Then I was like, oh, but she doesn't understand the politics of Texas, and she upset us, but yay!
I wouldn't mind like Sonequa Martin Green. I think it would be really fun to like pass it along to like the newest generation of Trek in that way. I think Frakes is also a pretty obvious choice. How am I? LeVar Burton.
Yes. I mean, it's interesting because you mentioned Frakes and you mentioned Sirtis. They both have done a bunch of voiceover work. So it'd be in their wheelhouse. I actually would. What about the doctor from Voyager? I don't remember his name at the moment.
Robert Picardo, man.
Yes, Robert Picardo.
Yeah. Looks like the chat is liking the LeVar
Mhm.
idea. Somebody said
mean-
Roxanne Dawson.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I like her. Santi says Gates McFadden is actually a producer of the documentary. I saw that too. Yeah.
Okay, that makes me more interested because I'm a
Mhm.
Gates McFadden fan.
Yeah. Dude, I am all in on this. I've seen like almost every Star Trek documentary. I go to sleep listening to audio of the commentaries from the old Star Trek movies. So yeah, this is for me.
This is very much for you.
This is very much for me.
That's a deep cut. That is way into the rabbit hole. You go to sleep listening to commentaries of the old Star Trek movies.
Dude, there's nothing like listening to Leonard Nimoy talking about diving into a giant aquarium in his underwear while you're snoozing to slumberland. It's
Listen, you
perfect.
know how I feel about the whale movie.
It's the best movie.
it's a third best movie.
Yeah, I'm with the people in the chat though, because LeVar Burton is kind of like my hero, so that works.
You know, Merle Andil, sorry if I botched your name, is saying, yeah, LeVar Burton, or again, Kate Mulgrew. More
Yeah.
love for Kate. We all love Kate, don't we?
I mean, you can't help but love Janeway. But speaking of, do you guys want to talk about movies?
I like movies, and we're getting a new script from a new writer, right?
Correct. Yes. So Kalinda Vasquez is been pinged to write a script for a new Trek movie, or at least has like a treatment, and has pitched it to J.J. Abrams and all of the powers that be, and they've all sort of signed off on it. She wrote for the Walking Dead previously, and like a slew of other shows. She worked on, I think, season 1 of Disco. And Michelle Paradise retweeted it, which to me makes it feel a little bit more real, because I feel like every year we get like a rumor of a Star Trek movie, but it's like, if people who are actually involved in the franchise are like, this is the only one I've seen them sort of like talk about openly on Twitter, which makes me think it's probably the most likely to be real.
I mean, this is what, and I think this is going to be real for sure. It's on Deadline, and this is a writer who's written for Discovery.
Mm-hmm.
I think she wrote the episode from last season in which Michelle Yeoh exited the series, and she also wrote the short trek in which Pike is putting a new crew member through a test. You guys remember that one?
Yeah.
And she has a long list of interesting genre and sci-fi credits. So, and that's great. And also, I mean, she is a woman of color, a POC, writing a Star Trek movie through that perspective. That's something we would really want to see, I think.
Yes.
Yes. And she's named after a Star Trek character, apparently.
It was written in the stars, literally.
Yeah. Kalinda was the name of a character who was in an episode of the original Trek. If you're watching the video, we pulled up the Deadline article, and they have the writer's headshot next to the actor who played the original Kalinda on the original series. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
This is pretty cool. I mean, that backstory makes me feel like I want to be first in line to see it. Yeah, I'm a fan.
Yeah, they give us absolutely no details, as of course they would, which is the other reason I'm like, this feels the most real to me, because there's no teaser to try to make people talk about it in any particular way. So yeah, we have no idea what it could be about. Could it be new characters, current characters? I wouldn't mind seeing a disco movie. A disco movie would be really cool, and I'm here for it.
It's not going to be a disco movie.
I know.
I'd be so into a disco movie.
Yeah. That being said, I mean, we kind of get a disco movie every week when that show's on. The production value is so high. But yeah, that would be cool. Let's think about the Trek movies that have been quote unquote in development over the past like 5 years or decades since we got like Star Trek Beyond like 5-6 years ago. So first there was the idea that there would be a direct Star Trek Beyond sequel starring they're going to bring Chris Hemsworth back as George Kirk's dad, and there's going to be some time travel wonkiness that gets George and Captain Kirk fighting whoever together, which cool. get the two Chris's together. Not bad. And then we had rumors of a Tarantino penned Star Trek movie. There were also rumors that he was going to produce and direct it. I think that went nowhere.
Good.
And then
Good.
something that was in pre-production was an original take on the series with new characters being written by Noah Hawley, the showrunner of Fargo, who's a neighbor of ours here in Austin. And during the pandemic, I think it was announced that pre-production on that completely stopped and they never went back to it. And Hawley's like, yeah, that's over. I'm not doing anything.
I'll listen. I want to take my Tarantino comment back. On the surface, that just seems insane. But in truth, I wasn't so sold on J.J. Abrams before he kind of produced what he's produced. And he's done a pretty good job. So
I just personally wasn't ready for all the feet shots in the Tarantino version of Trek.
I'm just not used to my Trek having that much blood and gore.
I don't think it would be like too bloody or too gory. If you watch Tarantino movies, like a big criticism that a lot of people have, it's like they're too violent or too gory. But a lot of times, like in most Tarantino movies, it's really the threat of violence that is hanging over like a pall throughout all the movies. And sure, there is typically one big violent scene in every movie, but I don't know. It just makes sense within the movie. Like not every scene is like bloody and gory and stuff.
Kill Bill seemed to have a whole lot of like samurai,
but it was so
shots.
cartoonish. That movie was, those movies were, it was such a cartoon. Yeah. I mean, Chupi is saying one thing about Tarantino, he makes entertaining movies in general. And I agree. I think he's made enough. Like he said, he's going to retire soon. Anyway, this is now a Tarantino podcast.
Listen, I agree with that, Chupi. It's just there's certain properties that I want to hold on sacred. Star Trek is like my happy place. This is where I go when the world around me is kind of nutso.
Mm-hmm.
Clyde, stop gatekeeping.
Let's not do that. I'm just saying. This is my happy place.
I don't think we have to do much gatekeeping in the way of Quentin Tarantino. But there, speaking of previous directors, though, who were attached to stuff, there is rumors that came out like today. Is this today? I think the news dropped. Yes, or yesterday. That the director who put out Wrath of Khan has
Nick Meyer
has also pitched a possible movie that are like whole other characters we've never seen before.
Khan,
because he had apparently.
At this point, I saw a tweet today. It was like, who hasn't pitched a Star Trek movie like today? Like so many. There's so many. Like I just named off like 4 that we've gotten in the past few years, 4 Star Trek ideas that were in development for a movie. It's kind of like Paramount doesn't know what to do with the franchise on the big screen. Mm-hmm. And it's so weird because in 2009, we had the reboot, which was mega successful.
Yep.
And kind of blew up the fandom in good ways, right? More people came to Trek. And then they kind of botched it with the sequels, unfortunately. Even though we did cover those movies on the pod last year, and we liked those movies, and there's those are pretty fun movies. But it's just like they don't know what to do. It's like, do we want to make a movie for Trek fans? We want to make it for general audiences? But it's hard. I can sympathize. Like it's hard to find the line, right, of creating something that is for fans, but also for mass audiences. That's going to be a $700 million hit all across the world, right?
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Honestly, apparently he had at one point talked about doing a miniseries that was supposed to sort of go into the backstory of Khan. And I was like, honestly, that sounds really cool to me. And I'm sad that got sort of tabled, but perhaps it'll come back around. but yeah, I mean, Nick Meyer's a cool guy. I've met him at a sci-fi film festival before. He's like really great on panels and really great with fans in general. Will sign stuff and is a really nice person. So I hope whatever comes out of it is interesting at least.
Would you be okay if they did to Star Trek what they've done with the Spider-Man universe and just keep rebooting it?
I mean, if we're going to create even more timelines, that's kind of interesting. But I think I'd prefer to see new characters played with personally.
I would definitely be interested in a Mirrorverse disco movie.
With Giorgio?
Sure. As long as you got Captain Killy, I'm in.
I mean,
I want to see, but I want to see the real Captain Killy that, kills people. Like, I feel like we keep getting threats of that. I want to see the real one.
I mean,
the violence and
the Showtime show is the Mirrorverse show.
Well, I can probably find you an Insta fan account of who's the actor who plays Tilly? I forget her name.
Mary Wiseman.
Mary Wiseman with pictures of her with straight hair. I think that'll do you.
I'm good.
I think you'll be okay with that.
No, but we liked the Mirrorverse crew.
I'm not a huge fan of the Mirrorverse. I think it's way too campy for me. Sometimes it's way too campy.
But Owo and everybody, they were just so nice in the Mirrorverse. I could watch that for 90 minutes.
I mean, again, I'm still waiting for my drag queen Star Trek mashup in some way, shape, or form. I think the fans want it. I think the drag queens want it. I think it needs to happen. I saw recently that Mary Wiseman has been doing some work with Drag Out the Vote. So it's like it's already coming together organically. And I think it should just happen.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, that's the Bravo Trek show we need, right? Yeah. Nicole Jackson agrees with me. She says, I think the Mirrorverse is interesting for an hour on TV, but not for a movie length show. It's too over the top. That's
fair, Nicole. I mean, that's fair.
I also think it's a little too inside baseball to get general fans in seats.
True. I mean, there's like 16 people that watch it and they'd be happy about it, but that'd be about it.
They'd make no money.
No money whatsoever.
Yeah.
No.
So there was this cool article from, you guys read Inverse? They actually have some really fun Star Trek articles.
I also really like their general layout of their website for articles.
There's definitely some smart fans who write for Inverse, and they had a new article out that says 5 Star Trek characters that could return in Strange New Worlds. So these are all kind of based on rumors. And the cool thing about Inverse is they don't it's not really a lot of clickbaity rumor stuff. What they do, if there's an interesting rumor and it inspires their writers to write like a fun list or some kind of fun content, they go with it. So that's what I like about this website. So what they are positing, Bones' daughter, Joanna McCoy. Do we remember Bones' daughter?
Not off the top of my head.
I'm gonna say no.
No.
Apparently she's only been in the Star Trek novels.
Okay. This makes
sense. That would be it.
Not exciting. Ooh, Spock's other sibling, Sybok. That would be I don't use this word often, but that would be tight. Give me Sybok.
This is like the definition of inside baseball, right? We're geeking out on a very minutiae characters. Yes.
Hold on. It's time
he's
for
not that small.
Wait. It's time for something about Sybok. Okay. Sybok hot freak.
All right.
Here we go.
Mariah, hot freak on Sybok. Spock's brother from Star Trek V, The Final Frontier, directed by Shatner, the greatest filmmaker in the world. What do you think about Sybok? Do you want to see him back?
I'm just going to distract you with my fan dance.
I mean, have we have we not already tortured ourselves with exploring the genealogy of Burnham as Spock's sister? We're gonna sign up for this again.
Yeah, I mean, if it's gonna happen, it would have to be like, it couldn't be the whole like theme or major plot point to a season, because we've gotten so much of like you said, Clyde, Spock's genealogy. He's done his 23andMe. We are done. We know all we need to know.
I mean, at some point, I'm just going to be looking for that's going to be like the John Lasseter and Pixar movies. It's going to be a long lost relative of Spock in every Star Trek like series from here on out. I'm going to be looking for it. So
yeah, they're not going to do it because of the Burnham connection for sure. But I always thought a reimagined Sybok would be a cool character, because this is a Vulcan who's like a punk rock Vulcan, right? He's got
the anarchist cookbook. He's ready to go.
Yeah, he's an anarchist Vulcan. He embraces he ditches logic and embraces his emotions, right? And I think it'd be cool to see somebody interesting play him, like the dude who played Ramsay Bolton in Game of Thrones, or a cool young actor. Yeah, it'd be fun.
I hate that dude.
That's why we have multiple perspectives on this show. Thank you, Clyde.
Thank you. Hot Frakes on Sybok.
Okay, so guys, what was your favorite like Sybok line and scene and like item of dress that Sybok wore?
Clyde Googling Sybok lines now. No.
Okay, moving on.
I was like, honestly, the opening of that movie was like the wildest like 5 minutes of my life, because I was just like, what is even happening? Where are we? Who is this person?
I remember you were like, is this the wrong movie?
I literally thought I was watching the wrong movie. I was like, did I somehow get onto Canon Movies Plus instead of Paramount Plus? What is happening here? And I love Canon movies, so I was like, I mean, if this is the so bad it's good Trek movie, you've found the right person, but I'm probably the only person.
Okay, so this article also mentions that we could see a Rex, the navigator of the Enterprise in the animated series, the one bridge crew member who was kind of not necessarily a humanoid character.
Yeah.
Mariah, I think you're the one who's most familiar with the animated series. Tell us about a Rex.
Yeah, I mean, there's like the B crew on the Enterprise deck, and this article touches on a couple of the other ones. Eric's is one of the few ones that's sort of like on the bridge regularly, even with the sort of prime characters we're used to seeing. But yeah, he sort of plays, I don't know, he's not like a major role. He pops up enough that you remember him, and that he's got some good one-liners, and he's got a crazy third arm. So it's like could be kind of fun. I think we see a version of his species on Lower Decks.
Right.
And
what about Maress from the animated series?
Maress is great. She purrs when she's like trying to get a comm signal in. She's got a crazy tail. It's super fun. She's got a big old head of hair.
Yeah, she looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
I would love to see live action versions of these characters, because Maress kind of looks like she's part of the Thundercats.
Yeah, I think the thing with Maress would be trying to make sure it looks nothing like the cats from Cats. It's like, I would need it to be a very different direction, like special effects wise.
I think this is a good choice. The Cation, like, kind of race is something that is somewhat prominent in some of the novels, particularly the Titan series that I was a fan of. So I think this might be on the radar. Maybe not Maress in particular, but I would not be surprised if we saw a Cation.
Because they've been in the movies like as background characters too. So there's sort of precedent there.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, that would be cool.
Very neat.
So I don't know if you see it, but Chike has a comment for us, Mike.
Chike
says Chike.
Oh, Chike. Yeah. You want to read
it? Says,
at
what point will you get tired of all the new Star Trek? I remember when I used to care about Marvel. That would be like asking me am I over a Fast and Furious movie? And so the answer is nope, I'm gonna watch them. Now, am I gonna podcast about all of them? Probably. But am I gonna watch them a second time? I don't know. But am I gonna watch them? Yes, because well, it's a starship, and I watch stuff with starships. So
Yeah, and Kurtzman, I think, is feeling the news deluge has been strong lately, and so I think that's why in the articles and like a lot, I think it was Vanity Fair talked to him about this, and he essentially said like we're a quality over quantity game, and so we're never going to put out something that isn't going to hit the quality that we want it to, and so while there have been all these announcements, I mean, right now there's no new Trek on. We don't have overlapping Trek. It's a
so I'm for that.
right.
Like I'm for overlapping Trek.
Oh,
I
you
could
want us
do I could do
two shows
Treks
a week?
Fair point. Good point.
Well, I don't know. I mean, 2 shows a week could be, even if it's one of the main dramas like Discovery and then Prodigy going on at the same time. 2 different Trek shows for 2 different audiences. That's fine.
Yeah, I think that would be the only
what
overlap.
Mariah was saying was, could we do 2 podcasts a week? And that's where I was like,
do you guys? I'm not sure if we're gonna, because what we do on this pod is we cover all the new Star Trek shows episode by episode. We started with Discovery, obviously, moved on to Picard, and we did it for Lower Decks. So whatever comes next, we're definitely going to start doing that. But I definitely think we should cover the Prodigy premiere, but it's not really for us. So unless it really pops for us, we probably won't cover it week to week. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, it might be something where it's like we do the premiere and maybe we do like a mid-season check-in and then like a season wrap-up or something. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, if it's really good, I'll do it. But it's also hard because sometimes those kid shows are like 20 minutes long. So it's like, unless we're going to do 20-minute podcasts, I mean, they could be minis. Who knows?
Dude, we had like no content today. We've been going for an hour.
I know.
I think we'll be okay.
I was like,
and we're missing somebody. So
who knows? But Clyde, what did you say? But yeah, I as far as like the overlapping Trek, I don't think they'll ever put out like 2 of the, like you were saying, Mike, if there's the same audience sort of trying to be grabbed, I don't think they're going to put them out at the same time. Because I can tell you, as a fan of Drag Race, it's been watching 2 shows that are going, like UK and US have been going on at the same time. And it's been like I kind of love it and I kind of hate it at the same time. It's like a weird thing because you're like, oh, now I have so much of this, but once it's gone, how long am I going to have to wait for more? I was like, I'd rather have stuff spaced out. So
PW Gregory is calling us out. He says, wait, I remember asking you if you're going to cover Prodigy, and you guys said definitely.
I'm holding the word. I'm ready to cover it.
I think we said we definitely cover the premiere. We'll see. I don't know. Mariah will be covering it alone.
I'll just be on here by myself. You guys will have to talk to me on the
Yeah.
live stream, just chit chat, or else it's just gonna be me.
She's gonna get a whole new
recapping.
crew. It's gonna be Mariah and a bunch of drag queens talking about Prodigy.
Look,
Honestly, I would leave you all in an instant if
Yeah, I know
drag
you
queens
would.
invited me onto their show.
listen, it really depends on how good it is, because I think it's one of those things where if it's more like Clone Wars, then it's just going to be the same thing kind of over and over, right? If it's closer to Lower Decks, where it's kind of funny and cheeky, then it might be interesting. I just think this is going to be really challenging, because here's the thing that fascinates me about Prodigy. You're creating something for an audience that is largely unfamiliar with Trek. And so I just don't know what you're going to get. Like, you're trying to draw in an audience that has really never seen any sort of Trek unless they happen to watch it with their parents. And this is different from when I used to catch my mom watching, the original series, sitting in the living room. The truth of the matter is, no one really watches TV like that anymore, right? It's we're on personal devices. So I'm fascinated by this. I'm just not sure if I'm on board to watch it from week to week.
Yeah, I think JC had a good idea. Make Baron Von Grant recap all the Prodigy eps. He'll probably watch it. He has kids.
He does.
Santi had a cool comment. The Prodigy showrunners, and Mariah, I think you mentioned this earlier or something about this. They won Emmys for Troll Hunters. And the writing in that series is amazing, and it is for children, but very adult friendly as well. That sounds great.
Gonna have to check out Troll Hunters.
Yeah.
I think I saw the premiere, and somehow I never went back to it. So we'll see.
I will say though, pilots are hard. I feel like I have to always give shows like at least two episodes to kind of get a good feel anymore, because I saw recently Jermaine from who's the writer and creator of What We Do in the Shadows, which is one of my favorite comedies of the last 2 years.
Jermaine Clement.
Yeah. He said they wrote like 22 versions of the pilot episode of that show, and he was like 15 to make the studio notes not awful and the rest to make it funny.
Wow.
So it's like, there's so much that goes into this art form that I always feel like I got to give the creators a couple of episodes to really get a feel for things anymore.
I do 2 or 3 episodes unless it's really, really not my cup of tea in the first episode. Merrill and Dell.
I was gonna say, Mike, as you guys know, I used to, my wife and I used to have a show called Pilot Watching.
Yeah.
That would really look at the pilots and see how they were constructed. But like you said, the genre has changed, right? Like if you go back and look at some old pilots, like if you go back and look at the pilot to The Wire, for instance, that is a great pilot that stands on its own for the most part when you look at the writing. But nowadays, I think you really are looking at, I feel like I have to give anything that I'm serious about and really curious about, I got to give 2 or 3 episodes before I really understand what the show is about and whether or not it's something that I want to watch. Because every time I don't, I go back and I hear, oh, it's amazing. And I gotta go back and watch at least 2 more episodes.
Yeah, I always like going back and like the pilot to Cheers is one of my favorite pilots to go back and reference. It's a great one.
Oh, that's a good one.
Marilyn Dell says, I don't see Kate Mulgrew signing up for something unsophisticated. Accessible, yes, but I would be very surprised if Prodigy wasn't a smart show. That's a really good point. I agree. She can be pretty picky, I've heard. So yeah.
Agreed.
All right.
Well, I think my official predictus of what we're going to get in 2021 show-wise is going to be, and I think it will be in this order, is Lower Decks, Prodigy, Disco.
In terms of when we get them?
Yeah, like we're going to get those 3 shows this year.
So what you're saying is I just got to hold out to Disco.
So here's the thing with Lower Decks, though, y'all.
Lower Decks is great.
I've been going back and rewatching Lower Decks, and it is still funny. It is still like a great, like I put it on when I'm kind of winding down from my workday, and it really like chills me out, makes me laugh. It's been a good rewatch.
I will try that. I think that there were some Lower Deck episodes that were like, that was great, and there's some others was like, okay, that felt a little more like filler.
I think there was maybe one that wasn't a hit for me, but all the others are really fun. And then when that show shines, man, it really shines. Like it not just with the references, but doing its own thing too. Like when it could pull out a few little references and build upon them and really make you feel and care about those characters while also laughing like every other minute. And it did that for at least like 3 or 4 episodes for me. And now that the showrunner Mike McMahon has a little bit of cachet, now that the first season was met with some acclaim, I think he's going to come in swinging with some really good stuff in season 2.
Got lots of awards, or it's nominated for a bunch of awards. So
yeah.
Okay. Well, you guys have convinced me. I was going to go back and watch Enterprise and give it another chance, but instead I'm gonna go back and watch Lower Decks.
You were not gonna go back and watch Enterprise.
Actually, I was thinking about it. I was actually gonna go into the Slack and go, hey, give me, because the last time I asked for some Enterprise Like, I had a buddy who was trying to convince me that Enterprise was one of the best Star Trek properties, and he gave me a list of episodes. I started watching those episodes. They were largely terrible. And so I was going to go back to the Slack channel and say, hey, give me a list of episodes to watch. I'm going to go out and I'm going to watch them. I was going to do that, but now I'm going to go back and watch it on Lower Decks.
Everybody, you're welcome. We started with an Enterprise diss. We're ending with an Enterprise diss. Thank you so much, Clyde. But seriously, guys, if you do have a list of Enterprise episodes, how many you want, Clyde? 10?
No, give me 5. Give me
15, 20
five
episodes for Clyde.
strong episodes. You give me 5, I'll ask for more. Give me 5
All
good
right.
ones.
Choopy just says join the Slack on Wednesday. That's when they watch Enterprise and they pick the episodes that they like.
Mm-hmm.
So join
Okay.
that. Yeah,
Honestly,
check that
it
out.
was like I had not tried to watch Enterprise in a long time as well, Clyde. And I randomly got done early with my normal Wednesday night gig. And I was like, hey, I want to join the Slack crew. What are they watching? Watching Enterprise? Cool. I'll jump right in. And it was a great episode about Travis. And it was really touching, great family
Okay.
dynamics. I enjoyed it.
All right. Maybe Wednesday I'll come hang out in the Slack. Watch the watch along.
Hey, if you do it, if you
sounds
do
like
it, I'll
fun.
do it.
Okay.
It'll be fun. Okay. I think we've exhausted the news. There's probably like 5 more Star Trek stories that just dropped while we were potting.
Probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all I got as well. What do you all think what's your predictions of what shows we'll get this year?
Clyde?
I definitely think we'll get Prodigy. I definitely think we'll get a Lower Decks. I'm certain that we're gonna get Discovery. I think. I wonder if we'll get Picard.
I feel like maybe Picard, like January 2022, like
Yeah,
very early 2022.
That's where I was trying to figure out, like, is it gonna drop like late 2021 so we just get it like at the wire, like a late October, November or something like that. But yeah, it might be January.
I think that's when we're going to get Disco, because it seems to take them about a year from shoot to done. And I know that they were shooting through the fall and the winter, and I think they're still doing some shoots right now. But I follow honestly, following post-production people has been the best insights to when we're going to get stuff, because I saw an editor is already working on episodes, and so I was like, if it's already in the hands of an editor, I think we'll get it this fall.
Mariah, what does your Twitter stalking say about Strange New Worlds? Is that in production yet?
It is filming, but I don't think I haven't seen anything on post-production happening yet. So I think they're still filming.
Yeah. Yeah. Chike says Picard has some work to do to win him back. I think the thing that's most interesting to me about Picard is not Picard.
It's 7 of 9.
No, but she's wonderful. I'm interested in this crew, this motley band of kind of galactic misfits. I want more of that. And I feel like we just started scratching the surface with them. Mm-hmm. That is what has me interested in Picard, if I'm honest. And don't get me wrong, I love Sir Patrick Stewart. I do, but that's not the draw for me right now.
Yeah, I feel that. I like the crew. I think they kind of gelled towards the end of season 1, and hopefully we'll get more of a ragtag crew-based type show. It's a new showrunner, so Chabon already told his story, and it's going into the hands of a new showrunner, and we'll see. Hopefully it's a funner, like more crew-based story. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, Choopy says, and this is for you too, Clyde. This week they're going to be watching the Borg episode of Enterprise, and it's a good one. I've seen it, and that is a pretty fun one.
I don't think I've seen that one.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. I saw it a long time ago, like a decade ago or something. They put out these DVD sets that were themed episodes, and there was like a Borg themed set you could get, and that was the only Borg episode I'd never seen. So I was like, oh, this will be cool, and I actually enjoyed it.
I mean, truth be told, I have a Captain's Log watch set in my closet now.
Me too. I had that one.
So I've got here are the Captain's favorite episodes.
The time travel one is cool. The time travel set is pretty fun too. All right. I think that's all we got for this week. Let's see. I think we're gonna try and do like these loose hangs at least once a month.
Okay.
Does that sound good to you guys until we get some new Star Trek content, and then we'll probably dive into some Patreon only podcasts starting next month. But thank you for joining us on the live pod, and if you're just listening or watching the YouTube video replay later, thank you so much for checking out the pod. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit that notification bell to be notified when we go live during the off season.
Yes. And as we've been talking about, our Patreon is definitely the place to be, specifically during the off season. And for just $2 an episode, which means for $2 this month, you can come hang out with us in the Slack. You can see if Clyde and Mike make good on their promise to join us for Enterprise on Wednesday. We'll see what happens there. But we're talking Trek news all the time. So join us. It's patreon.com/Star Trek Pod.
Yes, and do not forget to follow us on social medias. You can follow us at Star Trek Pod. So thank you, Karen, who runs our Twitter. James Worm runs our Insta. Thank you, guys.
All right. Clyde, where can we find you online?
You can find me at Clyde Haynes on Twitter and online at www.keyandclyde.com.
Mariah.
And I'm at Mariah Gossett on all platforms. That is Mariah with a Y and a Gossett with 2 S's and 2 T's.
All right. You can find me at Mike Moody Garcia on Twitter, on Insta. And if you're a fan of Mariah, fan of Clyde, fan of Grant, and maybe me, there's a new podcast I have called Star Wars Pod. You can find it at starwarspodhq.com. And all these homies have been on that show. There's about 4 or 5 episodes already. So I'm doing that weekly. So check that out too. All right. Live long and prosper.
Bye.